Hello guys, welcome back to more interesting things in Warframe. This is Zelp, and today we're going to talk about bleed. Now on yesterday's video we did talk about bleed, but it is focused on lasting sting versus spoil strike, and it's all based on questions that was asked by a subscriber. So today is more of the rest of the things about bleed that I would like to share with you, that I feel it is interesting, not many people know about, and hopefully you'll like it. Before I start, I'd like to say that this will be an unscripted video, so do forgive me for all the ums and ahs and okay and so and stuff. Now, first thing I'd like to talk about is status chance, or proc chance if you want to. And what's interesting about it is that let's just take a look at the lesion. So this build was actually given to me by one of the subscriber. Is a pretty good build. It is based on doing slash damage to attack the health and bypass the armor, whereas it also has the viral to reduce the health pool by half. So after reducing the health pool and then attacking the remaining health, it makes a lot of sense, and it does a lot of damage and kills the enemy really quickly. But the problem here is that he has two other mods here that gives radiation, and the reason for having this two is really just to get the status chance to 100%. Okay, now my recommendation for him, without changing too much of his build, is to remove these two mods and use whipping wounds and use a fury instead over here. If you have prime fury, that would be even better. So it will look something like this. Okay, now whipping wounds has this effect where every time you have a combo going on, it increases your status chance by 45%, and this is actually really good for the lesion, simply because if you were to look at the graph, at 66% status chance, which is what it has now with only two dual stat mods, it will reach 100% in just the first upgrade of the combo counter, where it hits 1.5. so that means within just 5 hits it will start doing 100% status chance. And to be honest, you did not even actually need the radiation. So in this case you will reach 100% status chance, and you have a spare slot. Okay, and this is what I meant. This is not all. There is something else deeper that I would like to share with you. So it is the status chance exactly. Like if you zoom in and you see the status chance of each and every single damage type, you'll realize that the second build is still a lot better. Okay, so let's just go and take a look. So I need you to just memorize, like for just a few seconds, this is impact. Impact has 44 damage, puncher is 19.8, slash is 264, radiation 264, viral 264. Okay, now I'm gonna go to the spreadsheet. Whoa, this is so spontaneous. Okay, so I did prepare this beforehand. So over here is the build A, which is the one that he is doing. And over here you can see that there's impact, so 44, puncher 19.8, 264, 264, 264. Now the ping one, which is the physical type damage, they all have 4 times more priority of proccing over the elemental damages. Okay, that means the 44 damage you have to times 4 to get 176. Okay, and this is like the ratio of priority it has in a way, if you want, because you could think of it that way. So for puncher it'll be 79.2. For slash, if you times 4 with 264, you're gonna get 1056. And radiation and viral, you do not get any increment, so it'll be the same. And this total, you're gonna get 1839.2. Now with the total, if you want to find the percentage of proccing impact, you just take the priority of impact divided by the total, and you're gonna get this amount, which is the percentage of it proccing. Okay, so I did all the maths. You could actually just like take a look, it's all here. And so what you realize is that for slash to proc, it takes 57.4%. that means you have a 57.4% chance of proccing slash to cause bleed. Okay, and viral is 44.35. And the only two things that is important to you is slash and viral. Everything else is not important. It is if they were to proc, it just means that you have less one chance or one hit chance to proc the things that you want, which is slash and viral. So you realize that slash and viral comes down together as a whole as 71.77%. This means that you have a 71.7% chance of proccing or doing something that you want. Okay, and all the things that you do not want is about 28 or 30%. Okay, so you have about 30% to do things that you don't want. Now, what happened in the build that I recommend is that you remove radiation. Okay, so everything, the value is still the same, it's just that you do not have radiation now, so radiation is no longer there. That means the pool of where the types of status is or damage types it's involved, it becomes smaller, and it's more likely for the remaining damage types to proc instead. So that is the benefit of it. So what you did here is the same thing. Slash types will have a multiplication of 4, and then what you do is you divide, you have the total here, you divide by the total, and you get this. Okay, and now you realize that you have a 67% chance of proccing slash, and for viral you have a 16.7%, which is not a lot. Then and what you realize is that now the useful stats that you will be proccing is 83.8% more likelihood of happening, and only 16.2% of the things that you don't want to happen will happen. But keep in mind that we're using Weeping Wounds, so you do need to do at least 5 hits first. And just so that you know, 5 hits with deletion is really quick. Okay, I could just show you a demo right now, and there you go, that is 5 hits. Okay, so right now you know how to calculate and prioritize the status that you want. Okay, but how do you actually calculate the bleed damage? So I'm gonna show you, and it's actually really easy. I'm gonna show you with the Twin Basslock. Let's see if I have. Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna remove this stuff just to show you. Yep. Okay. So over here we have the Twin Basslock. It has a base damage of 65 heat. Okay, and so basically your bleed damage is 35% out of 65. Okay, the bleed damage can be increased with damage mods, like let's say it's all behind. Okay, let's say if I were to put in pressure point, so it goes up to 143. Now your bleed damage will be 35% out of 143, and that is it. And that is so easy to calculate. It is not affected by health modifiers or armor modifiers because it bypasses them both apparently. And yeah, it's really that easy. So there are also things that will increase the damage, like for example if it did ground finisher. Okay, so that will be 4 times in most cases. So if you do the maths right now, you should get about 200 bleed proc. And I'm going to just show you really quickly, just to prove that the amount does not change. So it should be about 200 damage. Let's see, there you go. And a bleed, come on, give me there you go. And I'm gonna hide. Now I find it really easy to look at the damage if I hide. There you go, can you see it? It's 200. Oh, it ended. I might freeze the screen and stuff. So yeah, that is really just like that, you could calculate your bleed damage. So again, the things that will affect the bleed damage is things like condition overload. I'm just gonna run through this whole page and tell you. Okay, if there is a critical multiplier, that will increase the bleed damage as well. Things like the faction mods, the smite, all this also increases the bleed damage. What else? Okay, if you are doing a finisher damage, so things like finishing touch will also increase the bleed damage. If you can go stealth mode, the stealth damage will also increase the bleed damage. Body count, yeah, the combo that you do, the combo multiplier, and I think that's the important stuff that you have to keep in mind. Yeah, solid strike works pretty much the same as pressure point, and it also works pretty much the same as still charge. Now the next thing I want to talk about here is condition overload. Now this mod is really good. Okay, why is it really good? I've tested, it is taken as a separate multiplier. So when it says plus 60% melee damage, it literally increases your final damage by 60%. Okay, and it is really cool because let's say you have like some potential to do status. Okay, the moment you do one proc and this one will activate and give you 60%, is as if you are using one of the smites, okay, but only twice as good. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I mean, for those people that's been playing Warframe for a real long time, you have heard the stories of, you know, using the faction mods because they give you a lot of damage. Now this one's gonna give you double the damage with one proc. It has the potential to do even more damage depending on the amount of procs you have. Okay, so this is really good, very OP. I'm really considering having it on every single weapon, every single melee weapon that I have, but then it doesn't really work well if your weapon doesn't proc status. Okay, if it could proc at least one, it's actually really good already. Okay, now we're going to talk about combos, and what we're going to do is actually I'm going to show you like certain weapons, the way I modded, and then I'm going to talk about why I modded that way, and I'm also going to elaborate things, the special unique things in it that makes bleed so good. So they are all bleed combos, they are just different, and I'm going to explain one by one. So we're going to start with the meals, and the way I mod this one is that I have coal, and then I have a whole bunch of things that basically increases my overall damage in a way. Okay, so it's more like coal plus damage type plus bleed. Okay, so this combo, it goes something like that. And what you need to know here is that the impact puncher is relatively high in comparison with slash, so it's actually not a very good weapon for proccing bleed, but the default snapdragon has this particular skill, Soul of the Leviathan, I will pronounce that correctly, and somewhere inside it does 100% slash proc. And what you want to do, because it's so easy to perform, as long as you attack fast enough, you can keep going through this combo move and keep proccing slash, and that is what I'm be doing. And the reason why do I have coal damage is that coal has the ability to prolong your bleed proc duration. Okay, and I'm going to show you the equation from wiki. The coal on enemies, they will actually debuff them by 50%. Okay, and if you add that into, as in if you equate that into the equation, you'll realize that as long as you can keep proccing coal on the enemy, your status effects duration is actually prolonged by 100%. Okay, double. So that means, in a weird way, you could say that having constant coal procs is almost as equal as having lasting sting, and it costs so much lesser, and on top of that you get the coal damage, the status chance, and yeah. And I'm going to show you a quick run. Let's see, I'm gonna have again always the corrupted heavy gunner at level 140. So gonna block. So this is actually how you activate that combo, just by blocking and attacking. Okay, and just want to attack as fast as you can, and there you go. Now, knowing the fact that slow increases the duration of your status procs, including gas as well, but today we're just looking at bleed. The Frost's Avalanche has the ability to cause a 100% slow, whereby they become ice blocks basically. And during that time, this also means that your status duration procs will last forever. If you sub it into the equation, you'll realize that it's equal to infinity. So as long as the enemy is frozen, your bleed proc actually does not reduce in duration at all. So it will just keep procking as long as it is frozen, and then immediately after it's frozen, the proc will continue from where it stopped. Okay, so I'm gonna show you a really quick one. So again, the love of my life. Here we go. Oops, better block. Let him, there you go. Okay, so it's down, and there goes a bleed and avalanche. And what you see here is the bleed will keep on procking until the avalanche ends, and you'll still continue to proc until the actual full duration of the bleed ends. So it's kind of OP, I guess. It's kind of strong. I think my avalanche is gonna end soon. There you go, and still procking. And what you can do is you can actually cast another one, and watch as he dies slowly. Okay. Now next thing I'm gonna talk about is about ground finishers. And this is where the dual swords comes in. And in my opinion, the dual swords are the categories of weapon that is really actually good, or rather made for doing bleed procs. Okay, and let me explain why. So wait, let me check if I am equipped correctly. Okay, I'm gonna start off with the dual commas. Okay, and the way I modded the dual comma prime is that I have viral. Okay, and also I'm gonna be proccing bleed. So this is actually a similar build to the one that the person gave me, is where I focus on viral to reduce the health pool, and then I cast bleed to deal with the rest of the health. And over here you realize that I'm using finishing touch. The reason why I'm using finishing touch is not because it increases the bleed damage directly, but is because it will increase ground finisher damage. Okay, and the thing about Swirling Tiger is that the combo for Winding Claw, it will cause the enemy to ragdoll and fall on the floor, and that is when you could do a finishing ground finisher. And for some weird reason, I'm not sure if it's intended or not, but then all weapons in the dual sword category, they will do 100% bleed proc upon ground finishers. So that is what this whole thing is about. So you have the viral, the bleed, and the ground finisher that gives you 400% damage. So let's see this in action. So this would be the second combo that I'm introducing, which is kind of like the one that you saw previously, but different. Okay, so the trick is to, there you go, to pull that. Okay, it's dead. So the trick is to pull off that combo from the stance, and once it's on the ground, the ground finisher is gonna hurt a lot. Okay, and that is the second combo here. Now the third combo will be not so much of a status chance, because I don't know if you realize this, but this build depends quite a lot on the slash proc and also the viral to proc. So I do need a reasonable amount of status chance. Okay, so the next one that I'm gonna show you is it's gonna be a critical build. Okay, and I'm gonna use the Prisma Dual Cleavers for this. And how I do it is Organ Shatter. Okay, so there is no status effects as in elemental status at all, but the cool thing about this weapon, the cleaver, is that it could use Justice Blade, and this 100% melee damage also increases bleed damage. Now on my previous video I mentioned to you guys that all the elemental mods damage increment and also all the physical mods increment damage, it doesn't contribute to your bleed damage. Okay, it's only the pure base damage from your weapon and multiplied with all those things that I mentioned just now on what could increase the bleed damage. Okay, so so this one does increase the bleed damage, and therefore just by focusing on critical, this sort of kind of work. So it's the same thing again, you're focusing on ground finishers, but this time you have critical and yeah, and it's bleed. So this is the third combo, which is bleed, critical, and ground finisher. Let me show you how this looks. For me, pulling off the first, okay, there you go. For me, pulling off the first combo is really hard, but after that, it gets really easy. And I'm gonna tell you why it gets really easy, because I have Fury and Berserker on, and the combo here is actually a pause in between, and when you're attacking really fast, that pause the time between the pause becomes really small, and it's as if just spamming E will trigger this combo. So it's actually really easy to use with Fury and Berserker on, and I bet it's gonna be even easier if you have a Prime Fury, but I do not have a Prime Fury. So okay, next is I have only 2 more builds that I would like to share, and they are both within the Twin Baslock. And you guys know I like this weapon a lot, and you've been seeing it a lot because it's good for testing. It's, I don't know, I actually even have a separate video on this weapon, so if you want to take a look, you could. And over there it actually shows you how it deals gas damage with stealth and do a lot of damage as well. Anyways, so okay, I'm gonna go with this one first. So this build is a blast. It's basically a blast, bleed, and ground finisher build. Okay, so with blast, you don't actually have to care whether or not you trigger the swirling tiger combo, the one that knocks them down. So with blast, you can actually use any mod you want. You can use crossing snake if you want to, it doesn't really matter. What blast does is that it will knock the enemy down and you will activate your finisher damage. Okay, you realize that I do not have any attack speed mods here. So this is really very focused on damage, as in you know that question where people ask like which one is better, to attack really fast or to do one really high damage. So this is the one that does a very slow attack but really high damage. Okay, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about in just a second. There is also something really interesting about blast damage. Okay, we did talk about it before, that it could trigger those stealth damage, but then what I'm trying to say here is not about that. Something interesting about blast and condition overload. If you were to read the description on condition overload, apparently it seems like blast procs could stack between each other. So that means if blast were to proc twice, this one will go up by double as well. Now I couldn't really see the difference, so I'm not gonna, don't quote me on it, but that is what I read. Okay, so let's just take a look at how this build performed. Also, I would like to tell you that it is at 100% status chance, so something is bound to come out, either blast or toxin. Now I did not want to put toxin at first, but at the end I find that putting toxin is actually better than putting things like drifting contact. So the reason why is because that extra toxin damage, which lasts for about 8 seconds, is gonna help trigger your condition overload by an extra point. So why not, right? And I realized that it doesn't really affect the whole situation much, so this is what I decided to go with. Okay, so now let's see how it performs. Yeah, actually I do not even need any mana. Here we go. So it is a very laid back build, you don't have to spam very fast. There you go. So that is one ground finisher. He fell down again. That is the second one. And actually I think I could stop. Yeah, he's already dead in the second ground finisher. So yeah, there it is. This is the third build, I think. Is this the third build? I don't remember. Okay, next is the last and final build, and it is just simply the one with channeling. So it's a channeling build. Everything is pretty much the same as this one. Only thing is that instead of lasting sting, I have killing blow. Okay, and let's see how it performs, because as you can feel from just now when I was fighting, it didn't felt like it went more than 6 seconds. So if it's within 6 seconds, actually lasting sting does not really help much. Okay, so let's see. Oh, there you go. Holy shit. Oops. First of all, I forgot to turn on my channeling, and second of all, that was a stealth attack. I didn't mean to do it. Yeah, so when I say blast damage could help you inflict stealth damage, this is what I mean. Okay, let's do this again. I'm gonna channel. Now by right, you don't actually need to channel all the way. You could just channel when you're going to do your ground finisher, and that will actually be enough. Okay, so there it is. Now I did 3 ground finisher instead of 2 like previously, but that is just because it fell down like really quickly. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Oh my god, this video is so long. Yeah, so you guys heard about the gas and the stealth thingy, but have you guys heard about the bleed and the stealth thingy? So I'm gonna show you guys really quickly. So I'm using the blast build, so it's a very laid back build. So it falls down and boop, it dies. Oh my god, there's another body there. Okay, and I'm gonna do it again just so you guys can see it. It's just so funny. So a level 140 heavy gunner, fall down and boop, there you go. So if I'm not mistaken, I haven't actually taken the figures and do the calculations, but it's doing, I think, 64 times its usual damage, and that is why it kills it in just one hit. And unlike gas, it ignores armor, so that is why the damage is higher than gas damage. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and especially those that actually made it this far. Do like and subscribe if this is your first time, and if you like the video or if you learned something here, and also if you want to see future videos. Once again, this is Zelp, wishing you a pleasant day, and bye bye.